Major Adam Lee III, that's Adamlee. As you know, we have been investigating the death of 10-year-old Sincere Jordan from 2591 Etheridge Drive, which occurred on the afternoon of July 4th. Let me start off by saying that children in the city of Atlanta are our most precious resource. The police department has an obligation to do everything that we can to protect our children. We cannot and will not tolerate illegal or irresponsible gun ownership, particularly that leads to the harm of children. In this particular case, on yesterday, we had 3 young men that were in the apartment when this incident occurred with Sincere Jordan. We had them to go to the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy to be interviewed by therapists at that location. We routinely do this when children are involved, victims or witnesses to crimes, because these therapists have a better knowledge of talking to these children and how to get the truth from them, hopefully, than our police officers have more training. So in that vein, I'd like to say that this investigation is still ongoing. The oldest person in the room at the time when Sincere was shot was only 11. The youngest was 7. And at some point, we will get with the district attorney's office as far as any pending charges that may occur. The spectrum of charges may be broad, so I'm not really at liberty to talk about what they may be at this time. At this time, we do have 2 goals in mind: to bring closure to the family so that they can get at least to the truth about what happened to their son, and also to learn the origins and whereabouts of the gun. The weapon was not on the scene when we arrived. We have information that someone went into the apartment and stole the weapon away before the police officers were able to get there. So this weapon is key to our investigation, and that is one of the reasons why we want to hold this press conference today to solicit the media's help in trying to locate this weapon. If someone knows where it is, we would like them to call Crime Stoppers, call us, but whatever you need to do, we just want you to do the right thing and help us to find this weapon. This young man's death has particularly touched the hearts of our police department because he was actively involved in the PAL unit, the Police Athletic League. And just a case in point, on the day that this happened, one of our officers had gone by his apartment or his home to take him to the Peachtree Road race, but did not get an answer at the door. And so unfortunately, that officer learned later on that afternoon that Sincere had been killed. And you can imagine how striking that was to that officer, as well as some of the other PAL officers that were really helping him out. He was playing on the football team. He was doing all sorts of activities with our Police Athletic League, and it's really been shocking to our police department, as well as any child, any death of a child that we have to deal with. So I'd like to take a few questions at this point, if anyone has any questions regarding Mr. Sincere Jordan.
Is it likely that an adult will be charged for not keeping that gun safe and secure?
That is a possibility. That is definitely a possibility, but we are more focused on right now on who tampered with the weapon, because that legally is an obstruction of the investigation. That is hindering us from being able to put that piece of the puzzle together by not having the weapon in our hands.
Can you say what type of weapon it is from the investigation and ballistics?
It appears to have been a 9mm pistol or semi-auto pistol.
Since you're here making this plea for the public to come forward if they know the whereabouts of that gun, is it safe to say sort of any possible leads that those children were able to give you that were in the room, that those have sort of led to dead ends at this point? Or?
Well, you can imagine the chaos that must have occurred right after the incident. Everything that we see so far, it appears to have been a tragic accident. It does not appear that Sincere shot himself or it was self-inflicted. It does not appear that way at this point. The evidence does not show that he did it to himself. So we feel that at least one of those 3 other children had the gun in hand when the incident occurred. So as I said, you can imagine the chaos, because I don't believe whoever that person was actually knew the gun was loaded, and it was probably quite a surprise to that person as well as Sincere and the other people in the room when it went off. So that's our issue that we're dealing with now.
Sincere's mother tells me that one of those children had pointed that gun on several different occasions, not just on the 4th, but in days and weeks prior, and this was something that he did on a regular basis.
I have no knowledge of that. That hasn't come to us during this investigation, so I don't know how that would play a part in what we're dealing with now.
Any information on where the gun came from? Do you know even at this point if it belonged to the homeowners or where the kids even found it?
Yeah, we believe the gun was in the home. We don't believe anyone brought the gun into the home. We believe it was already there prior to any of those children arriving.
And whose home was
Is
that?
that?
It's going to be the mother of one of the 2 boys.
Okay.
So she's acknowledged that she had a gun in her apartment.
Yes. She
But
has
she does
acknowledged that.
not know who removed it.
Correct.
Now, Sincere's mother tells me a man came in and removed it.
Well, we have information that that's going to be the case, but we have to identify that person. That's what we're working on now, trying to identify that man who some are saying went in and picked up the gun and left before the first officers arrived.
And if someone provides us that name through Crime Stoppers,
Right,
we get
right.
a reward.
So we need anyone who knows the identity of that person. There's a reward attached to it if they call Crime Stoppers, 44577 tips.
How much time was it between the shooting and when we think that man showed up? Was it minutes or?
It was probably seconds. Like I said, this incident occurred. Just put yourself in that position where there's a lot of people around, there's a lot of chaos, people crying, people in shock, and at some point this person, whoever he was, he slips in and he picks up the weapon and removes it from the crime scene.
Major, you said earlier on that there's charges pending as the investigation goes on. Can you explain, or are you talking about possible charges on the juveniles, or is this adults that will be involved?
No, any charges that will be forthcoming will more than likely be against an adult. The children, the state law precludes us from being able to charge these children. Any child under the age of 13, according to Georgia state law, cannot be charged.
And can you explain anything about state law in regards to securing a weapon in your home? Is it, are you required to have to lock it down, lock it up, gun lock it, or is that?
The law states that you're required to secure the weapon. It doesn't mention how. So if it's reasonably and prudently secured, then it's secured. The law doesn't dictate or mandate that you have to have a lock on the trigger, or it has to be in a lock box, or any of those things. It just says secure, and secure to you may be different from secure to another person.
From police standpoint, what advice would you give to gun owners, people with guns in their homes, about what is secure in your eyes?
Well, secure is that in a situation where there is no way that a child would be able to access that weapon. I think 2020 did a show a couple of years ago that surprised a lot of people and opened some eyes, and some little kids were able to tell these reporters where their mom and dad were hiding their weapons, unbeknownst to the mother and father, who thought that they were secure. So secure means really secure. I would encourage locking the weapon.